Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli. We fight our country's battles in the air, on land and sea. First to fight for right and freedom, and to keep our...
On this episode of Cigars and Sea Stories, Bennett and Mike are sitting down to discuss the M9 service pistol, or a paperweight. I mean, however you view the thing. Duh. Okay, now look, here's the idea.
I threw up in my mouth.
The U.S. military said we need something that has a safety and decocking lever. It's got to be double action. It's also got to shoot single action. It needs to have a high capacity magazine. And it needs to be light. So, the Beretta M9 service pistol was the pistol chosen. So bad.
It still throws rounds down range. And frankly, I mean, it's not the worst pistol ever fucking built. I mean,
it's definitely not the worst pistol,
especially like out of the box. It's pretty accurate.
Right, absolutely.
Out of the box, you know what I mean? And that was part of the thing, is it had to be mass produced, yada yada yada. But damn, it makes a really good club, right, / hammer and other things, and it just happens to throw 9mm rounds downrange.
Yeah,
I hate the safety, the decocking lever, all that.
Oh yes.
Hate it so much.
See, okay, so I learned on the Beretta M9, I learned the thumb sweep, right? And then you rotate your non-dominant thumb forward, and that's how you get the safety off. Doesn't bother me, but like, I've pulled rack weapons out, fired them. I've only had a couple of problems, a couple of failures with Berettas on the range. They do great on the range. It's really not that bad of a pistol. When you actually go downrange and carry the thing, it is a piece of shit. Like, sand gets in there, and you're done. There is zero tolerance built into the actual pistol itself. So it's like, if you're in a dusty or sandy environment, the gun doesn't work all that well. Well, that's sweet. That's pretty much where I'm going to be. So my Beretta M9 hung on the wall until it was time to go to chow.
Right.
And then I carried it to the chow hall. And if I ever brought it with me outside the wire, it was to like go talk to shithead Afghans, because they know that it was an execution pistol.
Yeah. But, I mean, I don't have like huge issues with, I just have, I don't know, external safeties to me, I guess they have their place.
Yeah.
But not, I don't know.
Didn't you grow up on the 45? Weren't you carrying that?
No. Oh, no, we did. We had some. So we qualified on both. And it was the old 1911.
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah.
So, I mean, some of these pistols, though, were so we had our choice, really, on which we wanted to carry. This was before, like, the Marine Corps went with, like, being able to, some of, like, the Kimber, making the Kimber 45. And,
right, the Desert Warriors.
Those are
badass pistols, by the way.
Type of things, but, you know what I mean? So the Marine Corps kind of went their own route, at least with some of the special operations stuff, and but frankly, I mean, doing my research on the history of the handguns for the military, back in the day, and actually then getting to mess with one from an arms room is the pistol that they dubbed the M11, which is the SIG. It was basically as a variant of the SIG 229S and 228S. And this is back in the 80s this is when they were doing the whole, testing for which bred the M9,
Yeah.
And it was a way better gun.
Yeah.
Which I like SIGs anyway,
It's not like the Beretta handles, all that shitty. Like, it's a gun that will pull out and fire, like I said, and if you want to use it on a range, you're going to be totally fine.
Right.
But the thing that just drives me nuts is that slide assembly, and it is a piece of shit. The slide assembly is a piece of shit.
It really is. So, I mean, what it really comes down to, and you'll agree with me on this, and I'm sure most, and I don't really like the word, but we're going to use it anyway. War fighters will agree that when you get out on a range, or when you get out in the field, and you're talking about winning gunfights, right?
Yeah.
And tactics, a less cognitive functioning weapon is going to be better.
Yeah. Just pull the gun out and shoot.
If you can just pull the gun out, and I don't care what the trigger pull is, because it's not going to matter at that time. Do you understand?
gonna play devil's advocate here. Because you wanna know something? That's not at all what the powers that be were thinking of when they got the Beretta M9.
Well, of course not. They were thinking of.
They were thinking of safety at a clearing barrel.
Right. Correct.
And negligent discharges.
And that is a travesty. I mean, I understand, but that's training.
Right.
And yes, you are going to have it. I mean, it's a projectile throwing weapon. You're going to have negligent shit happen with it because people are fucking stupid.
Right, but they need to be trained properly if they're going to carry a fucking service pistol.
So if you're going to give them a service pistol, if they can't use it at a clearing barrel, how the fuck are they going to use it? I'm going to tell you. How are they going to use it when their fingers turn to sausages on a battlefield?
Oh, absolutely.
How many times do you think a guy's pulled that M9 out and not clicked the fucking safety?
Well, the majority of the time,
pulling the fucking trigger.
The majority of the time, it's an officer at a clearing barrel who gets a negligent discharge. It just is. Or a staff NCO.
Part of it is because they're the ones carrying it as well.
They're the ones carrying it. They're the ones who drew it out of the Army.
They don't even let Joe fucking carry them.
Right. Well, and I got, right? So us as NCOs, we were carrying them. And that's because we were with the advisor team. So we had pistols. Right. And that was pretty much it. We were not the ones who were committing negligent discharges. I'll tell you that much right now.
So not only do you make it, you put barriers to the actual functionality of the weapon for safety reasons, but then you give it to the bootest of the boots, being first and second lieutenants.
Right.
Really.
Which hopefully the CMTs did their jobs.
I'll get some first lieutenants their due because they've been in a little while, but second lieutenants, you might as well be giving it to a private. Right. It's not worse. And that's the truth, folks. And you have to agree with me. If you don't, I don't know what fucking planet you're living on.
Well, then, right.
Because they have just as much firearms experience as any private does. So, in turn, it's not about education. It is about education, but it's about firearms education. So, damn. I'm just saying. So every lieutenant has a freaking sidearm.
Well, and I used to tell those guys.
As
an instructor for lieutenants who are about to go out to the Fleet Marine Force and carry these sidearms, I used to tell them, I was like, look, this is not to go to the chow hall. Like, I highly suggest that you carry a rifle with you wherever you go. If you actually have to get into a gunfight with somebody, you do not want to pull out a sidearm. And we're in a fucking war. Like, they're going to be coming at you with an AK-47 for Christ's sake. You know, oh, well, if I have to use the thing, it's a bad day, and all of this other shit. And I'm like, oh my God. You have to display proper weapons accountability. You have to be able to, you know, do all of your weapons handling and so on and so forth in order to graduate the course. You know, and then you get out there to the Fleet Marine Force, and it's like, what do I do with this, like, clearing barrel thing? It's like, what? Come on, man. God damn it. You're making me look bad. Remove the source of ammunition. Come on.
I mean, I have a buddy who told me a story about his lieutenant in Afghanistan. They basically got ambushed for, you know, and not a real ambush, but they got ambushed. You know what I mean? Not like a linear ambush.
Right.
They got ambushed, right? And there were some guys that were really close. Well, the guys were so close that the LT, the patrol leader, pulled his freaking pistol out, even though it was tied because they were that close, right? And it just wouldn't work. And then he tried to throw it at him because it was tied off to him. It didn't go anywhere. But it's a funny story in hindsight. Either way.
Wait a minute. Okay, let me recount the actions of the day. You have a guy who chose to go from a service rifle to a service pistol because they were so close.
His service rifle wasn't available.
How was your service? Oh, okay.
It was just one of those things, like it was either in the vehicle or something. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I would slay that ass immediately, but I understand.
The easiest thing to grab for him at that point was the pistol.
And it misfired.
It misfired, and he tried to throw it.
But it was dummy corded to him.
Huh?
But it was dummy corded to him.
Correct. So then he had to basically dive back in his vehicle and grab his weapon. So it was pretty.
What branch of the armed forces was this again?
What branch?
Yeah. Was this us? What?
Army.
Army.
But whatever.
It's whatever. Dude, I heard a great story.
But it's funny. I could only imagine seeing it, but it's one of those things. Now, is there some shit that you could say about the LT not having his regardless.
Why the fuck would you ever go anywhere without your service rifle? Why would that ever happen?
Literally like standing next to his vehicle. Do you understand?
Yeah, I understand. Why didn't he have his gun in his hand? If my rifle is in my hands before I open the door, and then my boots touch the deck, and I can kill anything that is within my
Didn't we just go through this, though, with the officer thing? Didn't we just go through this with the lieutenant?
Right. Army lieutenants.
Didn't we just go through this? So need I really go into detail?
Dude.
The detail was he didn't have his rifle. He had his pistol. He pulled the pistol. It didn't work. Then he tried to throw it at the enemy, which it would have done a better job at that point.
Who would throw their gun at the enemy? Who the fuck would do that? How retarded do you have to be?
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You people went to college. Jesus.
Anyway.
This drives me nuts. I'm going to throw this at you. Ha! Who the fuck does that? I heard a story the other day of a guy. He was a major in the army. IED goes off and he threw his rifle out the window. And then he like curled up into a ball on the floor. I'm going to have this dude on the show and recount the story. Like, how the fuck that happens, I have no idea. Like, IED blew up. I'm going to throw... How is your window down? And he threw it out the window and then curled up into a ball on the floor. How does that happen? I'm pretty sure these people are like colonels now. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, holy shit.
Here's my thing. In this day and age, why do we even still carry pistols?
Oh, I can answer that. Because rifles fail.
I understand that. Then why don't they give a pistol to everyone?
No, and that's a very good question. Why don't they give a sidearm to everybody? Yeah. You know, that I can't answer. You know,
yep.
I mean, transitioning
and there you go. So it's kind of like it's you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. I mean, we have. You know, weapons go down. That's the truth.
Well, and it's like, if I'm a driver, I didn't need a pistol. My dismount needed a pistol, you know, or the gunner would need a pistol. Only because if somebody came inside of the cab, he could just cap anybody who did that. You know, so it's like, billet needs pistols.
Basically what it comes down to, though, is this goes back to kind of like the times when the military just needed bodies and they didn't trust people with pistols.
Oh, yeah.
Because pistols are evil.
Pistols are evil.
They're evil.
Pistols are excellent for CQB.
But you understand what I'm saying.
Oh, absolutely.
Pistols are evil and, you know, privates can't handle it.
Well, and it's like...
Lance corporals can't handle them. And why do they even need them? Well, what if they're in a gunfight and their primary weapon fails?
Right.
They're supposed to hide behind their buddies, you know?
Right.
Or are we going to pull out K-bars and E-tools and go William Wallace on this motherfucker?
Absolutely.
But you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It used to drive me crazy.
Well, and it depends on, at least for me, I was like, why don't the first three guys in a stack all have pistols? You know, why doesn't anybody who's on like the team making entrance have a pistol? Because how it's supposed to go is
and there's
fire,
screaming.
You know, and then you're... Pow, pull the pistol out and you should be quick on the draw. That's the whole idea, is why you have a transition weapon. You shouldn't be using it on the street. You're not going to hit shit anyhow.
Right.
You're not going to hit shit past 25, 30 yards with an M9, especially when you're shaking. You know, you're wearing gloves and iPro and sweating all over yourself. You know?
I mean, but what it comes down to is there's probably NCOs screaming at us into the radio right now, into their iPhones, going... You know, what the fuck? Well, I mean, yeah, I understand it's a logistical nightmare because because boots and cherries suck. They just do.
Yeah.
But you know what? So here's what it is. Again, not to put more on the non-commissioned officers of the military, but if they're fucking up like that, I mean, they might be a dumbass, but you're their freaking sergeant.
Right. You're their squad leader.
You're their squad leader. You're their team leader.
Unfuck them.
You know what I'm saying? And you know what? That's part of the issue, is that it's like they either don't have the time or the patience to give the guys what they really need. How many times did we see that? Because it's just easier to not.
Right.
You know, and that also slinks out into civilian, non-veteran life, where people just aren't given stuff because of the simplicity of it. And do they really need it? Well, yeah, actually. I mean, if we're going to be mission planners and logistical freaking, planners and figuring out all what if, and you can what if everything to death. Well, they do it with some things, but they don't do it with others. So
right.
What if you're in a firefight in a freaking shithole in, some street alley in Iraq, Baghdad, Ramadi, Mosul, take your fucking pick, and you're Lance Corporal and your weapon goes down. What the fuck are you supposed to do?
Right. Get it back in the fight. Take cover.
Get it back in the fight.
Take cover.
Right?
Get it back in the fight.
But can I get something that at least shoots until that point when I'm able to?
I mean,
you know what I mean?
You should. If you're on the buddy.
I'm just saying.
I'm up.
You understand what I'm saying?
Down.
Little devil's advocate action here.
Well, the whole goddamn point, like you see the iconic image of Sergeant Major Castle, getting walked out, Beretta in hand. There you go. That worked. Why did that work? It's because
it's because he's a sergeant major and he has one.
Well, and it was clean, it was lubed. He had it on his sidearm. He was in an urban environment. His main weapon, he would have used an M16 or an M4, what have you, if his main weapon was still in the fight, but he had to go to the Beretta.
Right, and he went to but his main weapon wasn't in the fight. Why? Because it was exhausted.
Right, it went down. Right, it was out of action in general. So that's that is literally the exact scenario. We got to get him on the show.
What if that was a
badass?
But let me explain, or let me ask. What if that was an E4 team leader or an E3 team leader? He wouldn't have the pistol.
Right.
So what, do you understand what I'm saying?
He wouldn't have the pistol, but you know what though? That he would have, that a sergeant major wouldn't have, he would have frags. And he would have other type of
It's true, but you understand what I'm saying.
Absolutely, I understand.
Yeah. So
well, and it matters too, because it's like, dude, it matters to me a great deal because I trained a lot of people on how to use these fucking pistols. And the people who are getting the pistols are the ones who don't necessarily need them. I'm telling you right now, I strongly believe that officers who are downrange serving in combat right now do not need sidearms unless they're mission specific, like MARSOC teams, whatever it winds up being. But you are not going to kicking in a door. Same thing goes for platoon sergeant. If you're if you're an NCO, let's say for instance, and you're going in and making entry into houses along with your E3s and everybody else, it makes perfect sense.
Or let me ask this: why doesn't every single member carry one?
I'll tell you why. It's because we don't train at the Fleet Marine Force how to handle a pistol or a sidearm. And
so it comes down to, basically what you're saying is that at the end of the day, it comes down to money and time.
Money and time, but it's also, you got to remember in the TNR manual, that skill set doesn't belong in the 1000, 2000 series. Well, it does belong in the 1000 series. But
I understand. I'm kind of being the guy. I'm trying to be a little
I get it.
Advocate. Like, why not? Why the fuck not?
Yeah, it comes down to billet. So like I was a driver, I didn't need one. If we were doing CQB type stuff, and then how you're actually training also, because you got to remember, here's the thing that you and I are talking about. What happened? The gun went down, and so they transitioned to the pistol. You want to know something? Maybe I'm a little wily. I believe that the combat pistol program is being mistaught. You should always come from the transition every single time. You should have a dry rifle with an empty magazine inserted, and you should learn how to transition ejection port cover inboard over to your M9, and then come from the draw and present. Because there's like two scenarios where you would draw a pistol at 25 yards and take a shot. One is an active shooter on base while you're on duty, and then the other one is you're on duty and you've barricaded yourself inside of your duty hut. Those are the only times that you are going to be without body armor, pull a pistol out, and then probably have the ability to take a single action shot in that sense. Every other time you're going to be transitioning from rifle to pistol and firing. I mean, like, we're talking about time and money. We're outfitting an entire battalion with suppressed weapons, right?
I know.
40s,
why?
50s.
Why? I mean, if we'll do dumb shit like that, then why shouldn't every service member carry a pistol?
Well, and I agree. And the dumb shit, in my opinion, is, why are we suppressing a 50 cal? If we can do it, that's pretty fucking cool. Why are we doing it in general? Communication on the battlefield. Because it gets loud as fuck when your entire company is all shooting.
Absolutely, for sure.
And it's loud as fuck when you're going, it's loud as shit in a house in Ramadi when a gun goes off. Let me tell you why. And it's not like we're wearing ear pro downrange, So, which there are a couple of snipers that I know who are rocking, they have hearing aids in each ear because they were shooting the Sasser in Fallujah shit, you know? And here I am thinking about that shooting a Sasser in Afghanistan. And it's just like, fuck, man. And I was outside. You know, these guys are taking shots from sniper hides inside of buildings.
So doesn't that sound like a better idea than suppressing weapons? Doesn't it sound better to come up with high-speed, low-drag inserts that save soldiers and Marines' ears?
Yeah, but it's...
No, I'm serious.
Oh, you mean I wouldn't wear them. I wouldn't wear them at all.
I mean, I understand what you're saying, but it would maintain your normal hearing. I know they can do it.
Well, I know that they could do it. I don't care. I'm still not going to do it. It's the same thing when I go hunting. I'm not going to wear any of that shit.
Right.
It's the exact same thing. Right now, well, it's illegal here because I have microphones that are built into my Peltor headset. But yeah, I mean, that's why I wore Peltor. If we were going to do an inside building or anything else like that, I would wear a Peltor headset. That has a microphone in it so that we could speak regularly. But that's like if I'm doing DM shit. You know, again, what I'm trying to say is like you're not going to walk around with a suppressed pistol inside of a holster anyhow. So I mean that sounds a little crazy.
Ridiculous, right?
You're going to but the scenario will be you're going to go, and we practice this because we had transition drills. You would press, weapon fails to fire, you observe the chamber, realize that it's some sort of obstruction, malfunction. It is not just tap, rack, bang, right? You immediately transition, so your right hand, well, your dominant hand comes for your pistol, draws the pistol out. Now you have two muzzles that are facing downrange, but you've pinned your elbow to your side at the ready. And then you transition inboard the ejection port cover, bring it down to your non-dominant side, marry up your grip in front of your chest, and then present out, find the sights, and press. So if you needed to, you could pull that M9 out and pow, 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 all the way up into your... And you've done transitions, I know that, but that's just how our method of instruction went, so that you always had two muzzles downrange at the same time. You could still deal death and then pull up to a two-handed grip, find that front sight. So it's like, that's why you have a fucking pistol. That's it. No other reason, in my opinion, is my fucking main weapon went down. I'm going to pull this pistol out. The second I pull that pistol out, press. And then I'm dropping my rifle out of the way. I marry up my grip, press. You know, so like figuring out what my distance is, but I want that target to know, like, fuck you, asshole, I'm still deadly. Like, pow, pow,
yeah, right,
pow,
exactly.
pow, pow. You know, that's how it should go. Like, fuck you. No, rounds are still coming. You think the fight's over. It's not. I've got more ammo for this, too. And so you've got to be deadly on all your weapon systems. I'm going for the Tom Brown tracker on the small of my back when that pistol starts going dry, too. I'm going to hack this dude's fucking face off, and then I'm going to post it on the internet. But that's beside the point. So it's like, that's the scenario that you should be in if you're going for a service pistol. It shouldn't be thumb grip the D-ring, pull up the flap, right? Hold the flap with a non-dominant hand. You know, that's how I learned how to teach the pistol. You know, and by the end of that evolution, it was like, no, motherfucker, you're going to a transition, preferably a Safari Land swipe, like the thumb swipe. Those holsters, dude, are insanely fast. Love it.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, that's even now when I go for like concealed carry and I do all my swipes and my pullovers and everything else, I learned how to do that shit on an M9 in a Gelco belly band. You know, just kind of like tooling around doing pilot programs for like HRP. Like, I'm not an HRP instructor or anything like that. But, you know, some of those guys taught me the proper way of how to do your draw and everything else. And I'm like, this is going to be difficult. And they're like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, if I get into a firefight in my house, would I pull out my Walther? You know, yes, but I would pull out my Walther only to get over to my AR, in which case I would be slung. You know what I mean? Or like, how would I transition over? And they're like, dude, you're always trying to get to your battle rifle and then you transition, aren't you? I'm like, yes, that's exactly right. How do I get my fucking main gun in the fight where I can kill anything? Like, with an M16, I can kill anything out to 500 yards with iron sights, right? I mean, that's what we had to qualify at.
Yep.
So, and then with that Beretta, maybe 25. It's like, why am I reaching for this thing? Why would you get out of a Humvee without your fucking main rifle? Why would you do that? Let alone go dry and then throw it at somebody. Why the fuck would you do that?
It's like some OK Corral shit.
Oh my God. That's some booty loose shit. Oh my God.
You don't understand what I'm saying? No, it's funny.
Yes.
It's just funny.
Yep. Well,
you should have pulled the lanyard off and just started swinging it around like a flail or something.
I tell you
Gun
what,
medieval on it.
allegedly the M9 is great for pistol whipping people. Allegedly.
Yes, exactly. Allegedly.
So, there's that benefit. But I'm telling you what, though, a fucking 45.
Because it's fucking heavy. It's fucking heavy. The heaviest 9mm ever.
It is the heaviest 9mm ever.
Although I have to say, there's a close contender called the Smith & Wesson 5906.
I know what you're talking about.
Oh my God,
I know what
dude.
you're talking about.
Full frame freaking, you could seriously like tap maple trees using that thing because you're like, I mean, it's like an axe. It's fucking.
That's
dude.
like some of those H&K battle pistols, though. Also.
Oh, yeah, man. Oh my God!
That's a serious piece of leg iron. You're like, I don't want to carry that thing.
I carried the 5906 for freaking 10 years.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
And oh my God,
bad.
Now it could be accurate and it would be fine, and this and that and the other thing, but it was a club, dude.
Like you were a heavy fucking gun. Dude, people don't think of that shit, man. They're like, well, it's beefy. It's a beefy gun.
And then we went from 5906, we went to the M&P.
Yeah.
And to like night and day. It's freaking ridiculous. Yeah. But I mean, the M&P is a good pistol. I liked it.
Yeah.
I'm a Glock guy.
Yeah, you're either Glock or you're not.
Either Glock or you're not. And I like the Glock, and the M&P is a lot like it. So
I am not a Glock guy.
I know you're not.
I'm the Walther guy.
And you know what? I'm a big fan of Walther as well. I like Walther. And I like Sig. You know what? I just like guns. I
do too.
I really do just kind of like people be like, oh, that's a piece of shit. And I'll be like, well, yeah, but I still like to shoot that shit. So, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like how many handguns that you pick up, whether it's a Sig, a Beretta, a Smith, a Glock, take your fucking pick.
Right.
Walther, any of them, are you really just going to throw in the fucking trash? Let's be honest. They all have their advantages. They all have their disadvantages. Some are better than others. That's the truth. But if you're freaking rocking and rolling on a range or whatever, I'd rather have one than not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, when you start getting so geeked out on freaking gun shit that all of a sudden, a Glock 19 is a piece of shit compared to a Glock 23. I think we're splitting hairs a little bit here, folks. Well, fuck that fucking round. That 9mm round fucking sucks. You know what? It's going to kill a motherfucker if you shoot him in the fucking neck. Okay? So I'm not one of those guys that gets all geeked out on the calibers and everything else. I just like to shoot that shit. And if somebody's coming at me, I don't give a fuck if it's a 22. 22 is going to kill a motherfucker if you put it in his fucking face. Right. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
aim small, miss small.
We can go, oh, fucking ballistics and, get all fucking nerded out on that shit. But I don't give a fuck, man.
Right.
I just like to shoot that shit.
Hell yeah.
It's fun. And if you're with me, then you should call us and let us know. If you want to get geeked out on it, well, I guess we could go there, but why?
Well, totally.
Let's talk about the difference between, the dynamic and difference between a 357 and a 40, which is superior round. Who gives a fuck? Who really gives a fuck?
Right.
Fucking put that shit in a gun and shoot that shit. Have fun. Protect your family. Whatever.
Right.
Damn. Anyway.
And with the Beretta M9, keep that shit really fucking clean.
If you keep it clean, it'll work.
I'm interested
for the most part.
I'm interested in the comments that we're gonna get on this one. I'm interested.
Oh, we're gonna get a lot of Geardos fucking flying out of the woodwork. I guarantee it, and that's fine.
That's good.
And just know this: I love you all, and I respect everything that you do. But sometimes you got to give a fuck about something else. You know what I mean? It's that saying, 0 fucks given. Shit, man. And sometimes we get wrapped around the axle in this freaking culture about shit that just doesn't really matter. And whether I'm shooting a 9mm or a 40, it's because I made that choice. You shouldn't give a fuck. It shouldn't be a debate about, I'm protecting my family with a 9mm. You know why? Because I can carry 17 rounds.
But just don't do it with the M9. Like,
right. But do you hear what I'm saying? So I can carry 17 rounds in a M&P 9. And when you've got somebody that's not the best, they're not tactically proficient, I'd rather them have 17 rounds to shoot at a bad guy than 7.
Right.
I don't care
the
knockdown. Do you understand? So that's the whole point. That's another reason that they went with 9mm.
Right. Making a hell of a lot of noise.
Saying,
you got a lot of ammo.
I understand that it's not as good a round as a 45. But in the hands of a lay person that has enough sense to not kill you or me, but they can shoot at a bad guy, it's a tool. Yeah. That's all. Let's take it at face value.
And hopefully when you pull it out of your dusty holster, that piece of shit you call a paperweight M9 fires. Hopefully.
Right. Correct. Hopefully
you cleaned it. Hopefully you cleaned it and didn't need to buddy rush once. Because when you slide into your first piece of cover, that piece of shit will be filled full of dust. And when you go to pull it out, you will forget that it is dummy quartered to you and try to throw it at the enemy. Right? And
then bounce it off your leg because it's dumb to you. Fuck. Anyway, dude.
Twice.
Yeah, I gotta find the LT that did that shit.
Yes, you do. And we will post his picture on the internet.
All right. We'll get his ass on the show.
There you go. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of Cigars and Sea Stories. We welcome your comments. By all means, send them on in via Facebook, Instagram, whatever. Follow us all over the place. You know what I'm saying? Give us your thoughts, comments, concerns, questions. You can email those to contact@cigarsandseastories.com or individually Mike or Bennett at cigarsandseastories.com. You get the gist. Thank you so much to our sponsors, veteranslist.us. You can get a featured membership as a small business owner on veteranslist.us right now, 50% off. Enter discount code CigarsandSea. Thank you also to Spartan Media for doing a kick-ass job on our website, as well as ongoing work. They did our logo. Jeremy's awesome. So he's fellow 3, and you guys should get in touch with him. We can make that happen. As well as
nothing else, go check his website out because it's badass.
Yeah, SpartanMedia.com.
Yeah.
Yes, badass. Sir. We also did like a little role for them, so you'll hear that cropping up here in not too long.
Good stuff.
Heroes Media Group, which we are a proud member of. Heroes Media Group is owned and operated by veterans. It is for veterans. There's a variety of different types of podcasts available on there, and we are one of the shows that are proud to be a part of. So if you would please check out Heroes Media Group at heroesmediagroup.com. Bennett, you got anything else for our listeners?
Yeah, I really want somebody to come and debate me on any of our topics, but nobody ever does. It's weird, but anyway.
Oh. Let me see your war face.
Whether it's on Facebook or whatever.
And on that note, we cue the music.